there's Shakti, but then there's Sakti. Sakti, like one opposite. It's one less consonant to pronounce while you're going at it.
Oh, that's the best angle. Hi, guys.
You're going to get more light coming in this way.
Yeah, I think.
Is it?
We're just, not sure where to put this, but we're going to be talking about. I love that.
Stu's mom made that.
Oh my gosh. What is,
She also made that painting.
oh wow. Oh, there we go.
Hey,
Okay, David. Get over.
good day.
Good day.
Welcome to today. It's another beautiful day. The sun came up again. Yay. We've been hanging out, enjoying each other's company, talking about life and things in life, and talking about good foods and eating good eating vegan foods. We went to the Earth Day Vegan Festival in Balboa Park. That was
San
super
Diego.
amazing to see all the people showing up. Like, we've been to some vegan gatherings and there'll be a few people showing up.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
haven't been to anything that big?
No,
vegan. Oh,
nothing that
yeah,
big vegan.
wow.
I was
So-
surprised to see that many people.
Wow. I was at something called the Raw Spirit Festival in Sedona, like some years ago.
Uh-huh.
There were thousands of people there.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
It was raw or
Yeah, it was raw vegan. It was called the Raw Spirit
Wow.
Festival.
that is exciting.
Yay.
I see more and more people, awakening through what choices they are choosing to feed their body temples. It's
Right.
so exciting, huh, Joey?
Yeah.
We saw it in Mount Shasta,
Uh-huh.
where there was this one lady, like, spent all this money herself every month to bring a vegan potluck to the community.
Oh, sweet.
And she had bought tables and bought containers to put the food in, kind of things, like those
Yeah.
nice buffet type setup. And every month she would donate to give back to the people. She would have a whole vegan
Introduce
spread.
them to.
And
Yeah.
her whole
From vegan sloppy joes. It was like one
Yeah.
time they had some of
Wow.
that, and just
her
different.
whole mantra
things.
was make Shasta vegan.
And it became
That
like a
would be
potluck.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it became like a potluck.
Mm-hmm.
But like one guy showed up with a tray of meat one day. And she's like, "You can't have that here." So, but because it was a vegan potluck, so
Yeah.
it's quite nice.
Was it raw meat?
At least I got one part right? So, introduction, merging with Siva. This is one book of 3 that came from this place. There's a bunch of little institutes from this guy in Hawaii and other places. And what intrigued me of this book was it's like a pocketbook for enlightenment. It kind of gets you into the practice of seeing all as one and you as that one too. And so, like, seeing yourself as Siva, seeing yourself as God, as consciousness, being one with it, emerging with it. And so it's a daily practice and how to realize God.
Well.
Read that one.
Bereft of distracting thoughts, ascending the way of Kundalini, seeking the Creator that created all, Him that is beauteous light, reaching the mystic moon in union, he becomes one with the uncreated being. That, in truth, is Samadhi's tranquility.
So what does that mean to you guys? Did you catch anything out of that, or any questions? Or any...
Well, I think, as you were saying, the intention is oneness. The intention is to focus upon and become aware of the truth of us as one.
Yeah, and it kind of does have that in there. It says rising with the Kundalini.
Ascending the way
Ascending
of the
the
Kundalini.
way of the Kundalini.
Seeking the creator that created all. Reaching the mystic moon in union. You become one with the uncreated being. To me, Samadhi's tranquility is just the knowing that all is the one and one is the all. I had an experience years ago after a sacred medicine ceremony where I just felt that it was just such peace, knowing,
Divine union.
yeah, feeling that divine union. There's no separation really, except what we create in our heads. When we feel separate, then there is that feeling of what is the word that, not being enough. When you feel separated, when you feel like you're not, but when we can feel that unity all the time, life becomes pretty funny. I just did that to myself. Like, it's all the little characters that are playing out in our,
There's a
our
lot.
movies, we like
That's right,
to
right,
call
right.
it.
Yeah.
There's like more compassion and less attachment.
Yeah, and I recognize often when people are doing things, well, I've done that. Instead of like judging them harshly, it's like, well, I remember when on my path, I was at that spot
Right.
where I was doing things like that. So it's much more compassionate when you really understand everyone is you.
To me, it requires an intentional slowing down to be that mindful.
Yeah.
So, like yesterday, I was playing with We Are Life, witnessing and experiencing life. And so that helps me to recognize that that's life over there. That version of me, even if it's triggering me,
Yes.
like you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Is still me over
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for me, the ones that do trigger me, I find are my best teachers.
Well, it
Because
shows
it's
us what's
showing
still,
me what I still have to, let go.
not healed.
Yeah.
It was still reactive.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Because if we're in samadhi, we're not,
We're not
reactive,
reacting.
right?
Yeah. Yes,
Right?
that's it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so anytime that something like triggers me, like I made a post and someone wrote this big long response, and at first and then I was just like, why did I even post this? I really don't want to get into the, know.
That's right.
That's what Facebook does to me too.
Yeah, yeah.
Why did I even post
Why
this?
did I
don't wanna
post
argue with
this?
these people.
I don't really want to argue with anyone.
So I see samadhi as kind of being that, as my studies of samadhi is like that divine union. Like we came here, like the core is like the divine peaceful union. It's like perfect union, perfection. It's perfect union with the one, with the divine. That's like the samadhi state. It's like, all is well, all is be, all is
Bliss
good.
state. Yeah.
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 And samsara is kind of like, is the circle of life and death and rebirth, and it's like the suffering in that, and the suffering in that part. And samadhi is, you can still live in that cycle, but seeing it differently. You could have samadhi in samsara where you're not even really recognizing or seeing samsara because you're in samadhi. And people could be in samsara right here,
Right in front
and you
of
can
you.
be in samadhi. And some of us have already gone through the ending of that cycle of samsara and have made it to nirvana and samadhi, but came back here to help bring that energy to others and help others see that. I think there's people across the planet that are also.
I think there's a
here
lot
in that.
here right now on this time because it's such a pivotal point in our evolution as a humanity. It's humanity, you know, where we're leveling up.
Like maybe all of the people in the past of humanity that reached samsara and got away, broke the cycle of samsara and got into samadhi and realized samadhi, or realized their enlightenment, or realized their awakening, or
Yeah.
ascended, is now back here now helping the whole collective ascend, because this is a whole nother time in humanity for that
Yeah.
that
I agree.
connection.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to
Sure.
read.
Top of the page.
Yep.
Monday.
Yay,
That's today.
that's today.
We're on schedule.
Parasiva, life's ultimate goal. Ooh. Never have there been so many people living on the planet wondering, what is the real goal, the final purpose of life? However, man is blinded by his ignorance and his concern with the externalities of the world. He is caught, enthralled, bound by karma. The ultimate realizations available are beyond his understanding and remain to him obscure, even intellectually. Man's ultimate quest, the final evolutionary frontier, is within man himself. It is the truth spoken by Vedic rishis as the self within man, attainable through control of the mind and purification. It is karma that keeps us from knowing of and reaching life's final goal. Yet it is wrong to even call it a goal. It is what is known by the knower to have always existed. It is not a matter of becoming the self, but of realizing that you never were not the self. And what is the self?
Yeah.
It is Parasiva. It is God. It is that which is beyond the mind, beyond thought, feeling, and emotion, beyond time, form, and space. That is what all men are seeking, looking for, longing for. When karma is controlled through yoga and dharma well performed, and the energies are transmuted to their ultimate state, the Vedic truth of life discovered by the rishis so long ago becomes obvious. That goal is to realize God, Siva, in his absolute or transcendent state, which when realized is your own ultimate state, timeless, formless, spaceless truth. That truth lies beyond the thinking mind, beyond the feeling nature, beyond action or any movement of the vrittis, V-R-I-T-T-I-S, vrittis, the waves of the mind. Being, seeing this truth then gives the correct perspective, brings the eternal realities into perspective. They then are seen as truly unrealities, yet not discarded as such. This intimate experience must be experienced while in the physical body. One comes back and back again into flesh simply to realize Parasiva, nothing more. Yet the self, or Parasiva, is an experience only after it has been experienced. Yet it is not an experience at all, but the only possible non-experience which registers in its aftermath upon the mind of man. Prior to that, it is a goal. After realization, one thing is lost, the desire for the self. That's Monday.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So that's kind of the theme of today, the thoughts that we're to meditate on today.
Is the
Losing the desire for self, I would say, right? Is that
is the experience of self in order to release the experience of self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Irony
why
of
we
that.
incarnate. We incarnate in order to experience the self in order to release it. That's
Yeah.
trippy.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like we are the self, and we always were the self. The core is the self, and the self is God.
Right.
And it's like not exactly realizing it, but unrealizing everything else in a way. Like it's like that unfolding, and that ties in a lot with a lot of different things that I've studied and learned and saw through the different books through the ages.
It reminds me of this part of a song that came through me. It goes, all that I be is a hologram, a thought manifest in the great I am, here for one flash of eternity, one wave on the shore of an endless sea, one splash on the shore of an endless sea, one crash on the shore of an endless
Ooh, that gave me
sea.
chills. I love it.
In the introduction, it talked about that, about the sea and the one drop, and the drop merging with
The all,
sea.
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
And even like another way it said it was one drop, but then it also said it like being like a bubble, like a bubble on the water. There's like water on that edge of that bubble, and it's part of the water, but then it's like part of the water. But it's all, I think, the drop and the sea, and then the drop merging with the sea. The drop was never not the sea.
Right.
And the drop was always merged with the sea, but it appeared to be separate. But really there was no separation, because even like the water and the air is all the all.
Right,
So
right.
It's like it could never have been not the all. All of us, all and everything can never have not been the all.
Right. Maybe we could shoot together. I've had this vision for decades and I've never done it. Is to like take a bowl of water and to find, you could do it with regular ice cubes, but it would be more fun to find an ice cube tray that has shapes like people and create, ice people. And then put them in the water and just watch them
Yeah.
dissolve.
On live stream, just leave it on the live stream, just dissolve it. I like it.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then we pour them back into the molds and put them back in the freezer.
Separate,
And do
together.
it again. Maybe put it on a speed, when it's playing in fast motion. So
Yeah.
we could just see all these cycles of back in the freezer.
Yeah. We can put it on the stove and turn it up.
Right.
I think that's kind of the time that we're in right now, is a more accelerated time of
Where it's boiling.
dissolution. Yeah, where we're dissolving. Into
Oh yes, Joey, go.
Joey started the show.
So next time we could have like your Facebook with both of us tagged in it, her TikTok and my YouTube. We would have all three
Ooh,
going
that'd be
at the
fun.
same
Yeah.
time. And it doesn't have to be just for this book. But I think this is a good way to do like a theme of the day for us and a theme of the day for everyone. We were doing a Tao a day meditation for a while, and we'd start off with just one Tao and then talk about it, and then just go throughout the day with that reminder. So like this is
For
something
some reason,
I'm
I
gonna
think
read.
it's pronounced Tao.
Tao, yeah, the Tao, the Tao. And so I'm gonna read this one again for today for myself, so I can like absorb it
Sure.
on another level.
Sure.
Because while you're reading it, I'm picking up some, but
It's
maybe,
different.
maybe not all. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the consciousness isn't fully wrapped around. You're wrapped around the words visually and speaking them, and just one sense of just hearing them is not as
Penetrative.
yeah.
Right.
That's it. Not
Yeah.
as penetrative.
Yeah.
That goal is to realize God in his absolute or transcendent state, which when realized is your own ultimate state. Timeless, formless, speechless truth.
Yeah. And that unity, I is really everything, because when we feel separate from the all, when we tend to play small.
Right.
But when we know that, when we really have that remembering of the unity of everything, it makes it a lot less scary. Like, that's another me. That's another me.
Well, because at that point we're much less attached to result or outcome. It's about being fully expressed as the version of the divine that we've incarnated as. So it's we're not like editing ourselves or holding ourselves back for fear of offending another self. We're being the fully expressed because that's what we incarnated for, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Because God just was probably bored all being one, and so created the all so that it could experience everything in different perspectives. And this is just me experiencing the all in a different perspective, through my eyes and through my experience.
Right. And whatever happens is supposed to happen, so we don't have to like worry about triggering or trying to avoid anything. It's,
I trigger people, like, not intentionally at all, just like, in essence of me speaking my truth. It triggers people.
Well, you're pretty fully expressed. You're pretty. I mean, in a beautiful way. It's like that childlike, unfiltered, just like whatever impulse you have that's coming through you allow it. That's what I observe.
No holding back with shame and no guilt from what you did say, because if it could have happened any other way, it would have.
Exactly. And in our programmed delusion of separateness, we're all sort of like careful and editing ourselves all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so that's why there's so much dishonesty and suffering, because it's like there's a disconnect between the facade, that we think is a socially acceptable version of us, versus whatever is like brewing and churning inside that we're afraid to speak.
Would you say like that would be like the ego and then the higher self?
Yes.
Kind of thing. The ego is like sitting at Carl's Jr. after I smoked a bowl back in the day, the first time in public kind of thing, and it's like everybody knows I'm high, everybody's looking at me, everyone's just like totally getting paranoid and sketched out, just thinking that everybody knows that I'm high and they're gonna tell my mom or whatever, like a junior high or something, and but then that was really just my ego, and no one really cared because we're all just being ourselves.
Right.
Maybe your mom
I
cared.
was worried about it.
Well, it's interesting because I think that when we're like healed and so more evolved, then the ego becomes the fun differentiation. You know what I mean? It's like our idiosyncrasies and our neuroses and the things that make us our character.
Unique, yeah.
that
Integrated
makes us our
balance.
Yeah, and I think that still could be defined as ego, only it's not considering itself separate, so it's not afraid anymore to be fully expressed as its weird self.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I see that the ego to me is like that separateness, but not really. We got the body and then we got the spirit, and they come together, and the connection of those two things together is like the ego. But through the life, I think it's finding that balance between ego and spirit, and like integrating those parts of the ego that don't serve us and releasing them and pulling in the ones that do. So as a Pisces with some Leo in my chart, like the lion is some of that good ego now, using that lion, allowing that lion to be the lion and be that. But then also part of the ego is releasing that cowardly lion part of myself. Like that's not diving into that part of the ego, like letting that go and taking up more of the the highest path ego and finding that good balance. And I think like a lot of people are like, oh, like the Course in Miracles was like abolish the ego and completely like rid yourself of the ego. And then at the Sweat Lodge, I was talking to one of my elders about it, and he's like, well, ego is like what we need in a way. It's like, it's what helps us like stand up at the dinner table, and our wives need that. They need us to go to work, and we need our ego at work to get through. You can't get past a yield side if you don't have some ego.
Right.
You know, there is like it's not necessarily abolishing the ego, and like death does that. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, when you're dead, you're separate from your ego. You're separate from your body. So now it's just you and yourself without your body.
The essence,
Yeah.
which doesn't have a personality, probably. Because I mean, to me, ego and personality are pretty closely aligned, right?
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
say
right.
they affect each other, maybe. Like the ego affects the personality, and the personality is the ego embodied, which is personality. I would say they're almost like personality and ego would be some of the same things. But then your personality could be less than or greater than. Either that's also ego. Whether you think you're better than everybody else or less than everybody else or equal is all
Right,
part
I mean,
of an ego.
Equal
right?
is not ego. No,
Yeah,
I don't
ego
think
isn't-
equal is
Well,
not ego.
maybe equal is the higher self ego, is the evolved ego, the good ego. Equal is the
More of the self-realization, the knowing that
Well,
everyone is the.
It's like if you think about it, an infant, an infant comes in and seems to already have personality characteristics,
Yes.
right? But they don't have this like sense of separation that is neurotic, and like an ego seems neurotic to me. There's this like sort of distorted, paranoid, defensive, you know, for self, because they have to protect themselves and stuff, that an infant doesn't have. But an infant already seems to have some kind of personality trait, some sort of proclivity to certain ways of being.
Yeah.
Right?
and within that first 7 years, they're like taught in a way in schools and churches
That
and
make
family
them,
they give them the negative aspects of the ego in a way that they start seeing separation, and they start seeing the different programs.
depending on like how
They're raised.
their parents are responding to them, like how much fear is in the parent, you know.
Oh, it all gets just
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah. Or impatience, or
And I think
rage.
and in the beginning of this book, it talked about that, and the Krishna philosophy is that I've studied was like, even in this life, if you just hear the name of Krishna, then you're closer to receiving that goal and getting to that point. Maybe that's just an example, but then like if you were a devotee of Krishna in your last life, then in this life you would maybe be born to parents that were also that, so then you already have that
Keep it going.
start right away. And I think that each and every life from those different studies that I've studied puts you closer to being on that path to becoming the oneness, to realizing the oneness, to realizing there is no separation, there is no duality, realizing that all the all is the all, and that includes me, and that includes you, and that includes you, and that includes the carpet.
So do you think this is our last incarnation? I hope.
There's been times that I've really hoped so, and then when I have, see the grandchildren, like that to me, being a mom was one thing. Being a grandma is a totally different. It's so different. Like the connection, that I have with that. but not the same responsibility, you know, like the mom is all in and it's just more stressful. Like for me, it's not.
Right.
And
All the fun without all the responsibility.
yeah. And in getting to watch him grow up, you know, and just all the different things. Like the last time I talked to her, my daughter, Zaya was taking a nap. He woke up while we were still talking. You know, we were FaceTiming, and you know, he's getting up and he sees that she's talking to me, and he knows I'm grandma, and he's really like starting to talk now and very verbal, and so he's waking up and he goes, "It's not okay, grandma." And I just started laughing my ass off. It's not okay. What's not okay, Zaya? I don't even know. It's not okay, grandma. And I'm like, where did he get that, Taylor? Well, when he does something, you know, that it's not okay, Zaya, that's not okay. So me, you know, being there with taking the time from his mom right then.
Oh, it's not
that was
okay.
not okay, grandma.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute.
And so sometimes I think we want to come back, even though when like we're in this,
Yeah.
we're like, fuck this, I hope this is I've said that many times in this life, like I hope this is my last incarnation. And then now with grandchildren, I'm like, well, maybe I'll just come back. It's pretty fun. It's kind of hilarious.
Well, once you're out of it and totally into the higher realms or totally into the oneness, then we actually decided to be here.
Yeah. And like, there was one, so
Right,
David and
we
I have been on
chose
this
it.
medicine path. We were on the medicine path ceremony for quite some time, and we spent like, I don't know, 3 weeks in Mexico, and we were just doing ceremony after ceremony after ceremony, and there was a night that I'd never done this plant medicine, and I really wanted to because I'd never done it, but I was tired. I was really tired because we had been staying up late and, you know, like doing ceremonies and all this stuff.
We were
And
sleeping on a mattress full of cans. It was like
It-
someone took a
yeah.
bunch of recycled cans and made a mattress out of them. Is what it felt
that's
like.
what,
You didn't
every
move it, it was
time we
like
moved,
crisp.
it was like, like these cans were moving. Yeah. And we
That's
had
hilarious.
Yeah,
oh my
it was
god.
good. It wasn't exactly.
Wasn't
that, but
hilarious
it
at the
felt
time.
like-
Yeah, but it wasn't like we were like we were uncomfortable, but like, oh my god, this is fun because anyway, but and in this ceremony we smoke these herbs, and I feel this connection, this unity of it, and I am looking at, you know, my teacher and his partner sitting at the front, and just having this knowing that I have done this many times. Just know, you know, and I'm like, again, really? Like, you know, I was just like, I was almost annoyed,
It's
you
just
know.
looking at the 1500th lifetime.
Yeah,
doing this
and I'm like,
exact
why
same
the-
thing. We're all in ceremony.
Why am I doing this again?
Well, I've heard it said that we actually have as many incarnations as there are characters in the. So we come
Yes.
back as everyone.
Yes.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah,
from a
yeah.
blade of grass to a stone to a tree
We
to the
experience
wind.
everything.
Yeah.
And then I think like at one point you get to be the moon, and then from the moon you get to be Mama Earth. And like I think in my lifetime there was a shift between, I think maybe around 2012 or something, who was Mama Earth. Like Mama Earth had dealt with all that and graduated, and the moon spirit came in to be Mama Earth
Oh my god.
from some of the things that I've studied. And then like Jupiter became Earth, or there's like a whole shift
Wow.
of lineup
Wow.
that different souls could go through after, I think, receiving certain things. I think to be the moon, you have to have already understood the oneness on this earth. You already had to be every person in every situation, in every race, in every color, in every animal.
And time,
And,
every
yeah.
era.
Yeah, in order to get to that point, maybe, from some of the things that I've read from, I think the Book of Dizan explained that one from Madame Blavatsky.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? The more I learn, the more I know I don't know, but it's Yeah. And so I think our egos are the ones that don't want to come back.
You guys are the ones that had a hard time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was so.
The ego was the victim.
Yes.
This whole time it was the ego that was the victim.
Yeah, right. So
Right,
when I
right.
think about all the challenges, I mean, my soul chose to experience those for its infinite growth and potential, and my ego is like, I don't like this, you know. But once I
Perspective.
release the ego, then I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I want to learn some more, you know.
As your ego understands the perspective and the wholeness of the perspective and understands that, it views things differently. So it
Right.
doesn't view things as when the ego understands the oneness,
Yes.
it has sympathy for other victims and realizes it's not a victim.
Yeah. Yeah, and now, you know, all those times when I felt like I was the victim of with certain experiences in on my path, I realized it wasn't. It was empowering me to stand in my own power,
Yeah.
you know, and create boundaries and step into
Yeah.
my power, but it felt like you know.
Right, right.
Some of the boundaries that I set felt like it was me being mean or something, you know. Some of the boundaries I needed for myself in my ego's programmings and perspectives that it was taught through its life was like, oh, you're being mean, oh, you're being selfish.
Yeah.
You know, because we were taught that, and then to
Yeah.
see past all of that is beautiful.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the oneness.
Well, I think in terms of like this concept was introduced to me many years ago of that every single person, every single being on the planet is my evolutionary ally.
Mm-hmm.
Even my so-called enemies.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
They've taught me
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like a mirror that they're holding up, and the boundaries that
It's the boundaries. It's the boundaries. You know,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
no one can mess with me because I have such great boundaries.
Right.
Like, no, I'm not going to accept that.
Yeah, and there's also the aspect of them showing ourselves aspects of ourselves that we haven't integrated.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's beautiful too. That's so amazing. Like Kimberly and I coming together have realized our divine nearness.
Mm-hmm.
That like something's upsetting me about
Right.
her or that
Yeah.
she did, and it's really something in me that I need to
Right.
work on. And,
That's right.
and us coming together in this way has showed us on the next level of that. Like we were already working on that with ourselves
Yeah.
and seeing everybody as a mirror, but then like when you got your mirror with you,
That's
you
right.
can't be like, fuck you, I'm out of here. Because there's already something. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
There's been times though that, you know, when I've seen that mirror reflected and you don't really realize where it's coming from. One time David said something to me and it was so hurtful. And I was like, how could you even, you know? And then I went through and one of our, Richie was, so this was years ago, but I said something to him about it. And he said, what is in you that would cause that to, you know?
right.
And I was like, what do you mean? He said it to me. What is in me? You know? And so I had to really go in and go, all right, what is in me that is creating this reflection?
Yeah.
Instead of pointing the finger and saying, this is you, you did this, you know, what is it in me that I need to heal so that this doesn't reflect back to me in this way?
I've had 100 arguments with her without even telling her. now that I understand that,
Right.
I
You
can
just work
feel
it
that
out.
trigger, and instead of like puking it on her, I sit with it
Yeah.
and I examine myself with it. I sit with my own mirror,
Sweet.
not exactly in the mirror, but with my own mirror, and get through it. And then there's no real argument. There's nothing really to have brought up. And I didn't realize that in my first marriage. I just threw everything back, and
Right.
you know, absolutely everything. And my dad's like, pick and choose your battles. It's like, I don't need to get upset at everything. And little things all along the way that help me get where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ego's journey.
Yep.
The separation, the illusion of separation coming into wholeness, into oneness. And I think that's life.
Yeah.
The illusion of separation coming into wholeness. And that's why this book excited me so much. To
Good.
be on this path, to have a daily practice of that. I've known it and I've understood it for a while now, but now taking it to a more integrating it a little bit deeper, because I could always feel the oneness more. I still see the separation sometimes, you know. You still see other people out there doing some weird things, and it's like, how could that be me?
Right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't do
I think
that,
that's the
but-
thing most people struggle with, like when they see the versions
Really heinous.
that are
stuff.
really, they're like,
Yeah.
that is not me.
Right,
You know, they don't even want to acknowledge that the possibility
Yeah, yeah.
of that. Which, I can understand that too. I have thought that, like, oh my gosh, that version of me is,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a challenging one sometimes.
Well, yeah, because it's like nothing exists that isn't divine. Even the things that seem, totally sacrilegious or
Oh yeah,
evil or
horrific.
yeah,
Like there's so many things that,
yeah.
but that's
But getting to the space of there's actually nothing wrong.
yeah.
There's just nothing wrong.
Yeah.
There's nothing to fight against.
Like there's no
Yeah.
good and there's no evil.
There just
It's
isness.
just is.
It's
Yeah.
just- yeah.
And one of the things that's helped me in my life is seeing, like, 'cause coming here so sensitive to this planet and seeing all the pain and the suffering and the wars, and like really just like I held that in my heart for most of my life. When I went to Richie's and did my Campbell lesson was when I learned to release those attachments. My muscles around my heart were tight almost all of my life, holding that pain in, thinking I was helping or something, but then releasing that pain and that attachments and seeing it had its purpose. Seeing the horrible things that have happened in the world helped me see the possibility of the opposite happening. If I didn't know this, I couldn't know that.
Right.
Without the pain, the deep, hard, pain that I went through, I couldn't know the bliss. I could know it, but I couldn't appreciate
You
it.
can appreciate it
Without-
to that degree.
After my marriage, I went deep, lonesome, and lonely, and listening to like Hank Williams, really feeling it with a lonesome cowboy, and really just embodying that and appreciating that and accepting that loneliness. And then when I had Kimberly in my life, I was able to appreciate it on a whole nother level.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Like it's like it's not good and bad, and they say it's a duality, but it's like one pole, and there's hot here and there's cold here. There's no real separation. Where does hot actually end and cold begin?
Right.
Like in good and evil, there's no real separation. It's not really it's not two separate things.
Yeah, because
Everything
it's all
is so
perspective
connected.
on what's hot and what's cold on this
Yeah.
scale. Because everyone's
Or-
gonna go,
or-
no, this is cold for me, or this is hot, and it's
Yeah,
just all on the
Goldilocks
same.
taught me that.
Yeah.
Just right.
Yeah.
But
According to her,
for the
but-
mama bear, it might not have been just
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yay.
Super cool.
So we'll be doing this possibly with this every day, but just going live a lot more.
Except tomorrow, you already have an appointment at the time that we went live today.
Oh, okay. Well, tomorrow I'm busy.
But we'll set it at different times, maybe
Yeah.
tomorrow. We're also talking about making a live reality show kind of thing to where we go live a whole lot more, and the three of us in our conversations.
And
We'd
him.
love to
And
share
Joey.
all the four of us
Isn't it?
and anybody else who comes in through that door. We'd love to share our conversations. We get in some really deep, amazing conversations, and why don't we just go live and share it? We are very transparent, each one of us, with our own lives, and we are here to share what we've learned, and us learning together and bouncing off each other. This is a very beautiful
Yeah.
flow here,
It is.
and the different perspectives, but on the same path and the same learning of the oneness, I think is very helpful for others to digest and integrate the lessons, as because somebody that
Stimulate
might just read
inner
this,
thought,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, somebody that might just read this might get one line and understand that, but together we can all kind of understand it differently and go through
Our
it.
unique perspectives of it. Yeah.
And then
Of all of
talking
it.
about it too, not just reading it, but talking about it. I think it's really great. And so, yeah, we want to continue to share it. Stay tuned. Tell us where you want to see us go live. Let us know what you want to see or hear,
there
or
people
what works
watching us?
for you and what time. Someone's watching right now.
Yeah, hi.
Fitz was watching and said he wanted to follow along and see
Oh, cool.
each day. So, yeah, it's a big book. It's got a lot of different pages. This is one of 3. Yeah, it's kind of at the point where we're at now is that merging with Shiva. The spot where we're at with our lives is realizing there's no duality, realizing that separation was the illusion, and realizing that we are all God, Shiva,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. I choose to call it like the absolute or the all or love. Simply, it's
Or the
all.
great Schnei in the sky.
Never heard of that one.
That's
You and I made it.
Okay, I like that one. The great Schnei in the sky. I can't wait to meet you. I think we'll have some good laughs together.
So we're going on through that of our day to day with the oneness.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it is.
And
So be it.
so be it. So mote it be.
And at one point we'll end this live, but at one point we'll never end the live.
We were
Because
we
we're
were
always
talking
alive
about
on the live
we're
and
live on the
live.
yeah. We were discussing the possibility of just having live streaming
Being
going on,
live.
being live all the time. And if you want to tune in, cool. And if you don't, cool. We don't really care.
Because we're live regardless.
Yes.
Because we're alive on the live while we're alive, being alive.
But we have so
Staying
many
alive,
we have so many deep conversations and funny little whatevers that I think that where we're at on how we're communicating together and everything that people could benefit from possibly.
Yeah, sharing our
Sharing,
brainstorms, because our brainstorms
Yeah.
are beautiful.
Brainstorms are beautiful.
Yeah, and collectively.
And we are here for our own amusement
Yeah.
in this comedy called Live.
I'm here for your amusement.
Comedy or drama
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it. You can
Yeah.
name it whatever, label it however you want, but ours is a comedy.
And check out the website. We got some cool stuff going on there. Got some cool books and some cool things going. We're gonna probably do some live through that also. We have an app that we can go live through on there, and groups of discussion. And we have the Lessons of Love book we were gonna be talking more about.
Oh, yeah.
And we have the True Raw book we want to talk some about.
Lessons of love.
And we're going to be doing some skits about some funny things that we find funny. Maybe you'll find it funny too. We're going to do some funny joking videos and lightheartening the heavy subjects. Lightly heart you adding some love to the tough subjects to talk about, adding humor to the tough subjects that, some subjects that we talk about are very triggering for people. And so making a silly joke skit about it can help lighten it and help people integrate it. And, if something triggers you, why?
Yeah, if something is triggering us, it shows us where we can heal. That's exactly it. If you're getting triggered, then that's an opportunity to go inward and figure out, why is this triggering me? What are my beliefs? And do I want to keep them, or can I release them?
Am I the bad, mean man that's triggering you? Or is there a bad, mean trigger that you got? There's no bad and there's no what, but
I know.
Look at the triggers, not just look at what the trigger is, not the delivery person who's delivering the trigger.
Often we want to point the finger at the delivery person, but
That's happening hugely in the collective right now.
yes,
Right?
yes.
One
Someone else.
person is triggering a lot of people.
Someone else did it.
Yes.
One person who shall remain nameless.
But really
is
that
triggering
person-
a lot of people.
That person's shining the light on the triggers.
That's exactly
It's
right.
shining light
Yeah.
on their triggers
Yeah.
and shining the light on the world's triggers in a way.
Right. Yes. And
Revealer of triggers, I think, is very good and important.
God bless him for playing that part.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You know,
of work.
often many of us don't even realize how much we trigger people just being ourselves, and like you stepping into your singing and being authentic and being able to show up in such a beautiful way. That's going to trigger someone who knows they want to do that
That's
and they
right.
haven't done it
That's
yet.
right. Yeah.
And so they'll find some way
And
to
so
manage
they'll,
you for
yes,
it. And
yes.
they're the victim now,
That's right.
and you're the aggressor,
Yeah.
and you're just being you.
It reminds me of this old commercial that was like, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful."
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Yeah, and that is a trigger.
a true rock commercial like that.
Yeah. Don't hate me because I'm raw.
Beautiful because I'm raw.
Yeah, so when people, I have so many people in my life talk to me, which, because they're dealing with all these different aches and pains, and they're like, well, at our age, and I'm like, well, I don't actually experience any of that, and I'm like, well, that's probably because you're vegan, and I'm like, well, probably, probably,
Yeah.
but that's not going to make them change, so it's very interesting.
The mucus-free diet changed my life. In the last 10 years or more, I've been feeling like I was older. Just the pain in my shoulders and the pain in my body, and
The joints.
shifting for the mucus-free. Like I don't have the pain in my wrists or my shoulders as I used to. Now I have the pain that's like, hey, you need to stretch that today.
Right.
But it's not just the living with the pain, and the changing my diet to a mucus-free diet released that buildup of mucus, which causes the inflammation,
right.
which causes the pain.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we're not taught that, and so we are teaching that
Yeah.
through comedy and laughter.
Yeah.
Awakening comedy. We have a friend up north that has a corporation called Awakened Comedy,
Oh, fun.
and and I really want to get into what is that all about? Let's do something with that. Let's be part of that, because awakening with comedy is the true path that is a lot easier. It's a good path that's a lot easier than the triggering awakening with triggering. Like
Well,
running
it's
around
so
jabbing
true.
people.
We've been
It's
taught that
triggering.
we have to learn through pain, right?
Yeah.
And it served its purpose, but we
Yeah.
don't have to keep
Continue
doing
it,
it like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We can just laugh at, because
Giggle.
I know, like, there's been others on the spiritual path that do poke fun of things that people take serious, and it's fun. Then you can see, okay, this is funny.
Right,
This is
right.
hilarious.
Satire.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think the more that we can create satire around the things that they really are funny.
I like the things that look so serious that you can't tell that it's satire. You're wondering if it's satire. People are asking if it's satire. Those are cool too.
Yeah.
And we were like, are these people serious?
Right.
Because then it almost draws them in a little bit more.
Right. Yes.
Is this?
Yeah.
I've had people say, "Is this satire?"
Oh, that video.
I don't. Yeah, that one. I think there's another one's like that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Do you feel complete?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going on, but
Yeah. 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 This is.
yeah. I feel like I want to get up from this position.
Yeah. We can just end the live for now and just start off with just that one like that.
Okay.
And then we could hop on to something else later or tomorrow. We can see, I think maybe Facebook today and then Facebook and TikTok and see how the views and the things are and the differences and see what is flowing. It'd be good to do it every day at the same time, but tomorrow we have an appointment at this time. We have to just flow.
Yeah.
And I think the
Time
length
is an
of it-
illusion, so it's okay.
I know.
So
Exactly.
much love. Thanks for following
Thank
along.
you.
Oh, there's Carol. Yay! We were talking about Awakening Comedy. Yay! Carol was on. Hi,
Oh,
Carol.
sweet.
We have Tess, Kimberly,
Hi.
David. Thank you guys for
Love
being
you.
on. We're doing today. We went through the Merging with Siva book, starting on the first one on Monday. Oh, there goes my bookmark. But
Monday.
yeah, and just learning about the oneness, integrating the oneness deeper. So rewatch this whole video to see more. We're looking forward to working with everybody in any way we can and combining and co-creating and collaborating. And we're going to be doing a lot of funny things, little skits. We're going to film one today to help people awaken with comedy. Thank you, Carol, for giving us that insight, putting those words together to help us
I love it.
help awaken people
We love it so much.
without the pain and the suffering.
Yeah. Awaken with laughter instead.
Lovely.
We can just laugh at ourselves. It's so much more fun.
Yay, and we'd love to learn more. So let's get on a call. Let's get on a talk. Let's hang out and talk. And anybody and everybody, we're available and free. Our website shows all the goodness that we're doing and ways to contact us. And we love you. Thank you so much for being along. We'll see you soon. Oh, where's that button?
To the top.
Up, where's that button? And then, like, when you get on the live and you're doing